Okay, this is Newbie Bloggers. It's how to create and monetize your blog post. So I just want to give an overview. Linda's been with us a time or two. Jessica's brand new today. So welcome, Jessica. We're glad you're here. So I want to ask, first of all, do you have a blog already? And Linda, I'm going to let you share. I already kind of know your story, but I'm going to let you share for Jessica's sake about whether you're blogging already.
I am not. I'm in the process of building and creating some content, and I do want to begin blogging and maybe using some of my posts on, say, LinkedIn, that kind of thing, just to continue to establish my expert status.
Okay. And so blogging is going to be kind of a marketing tool for you to put content out there so that folks get to know, like, and trust you, and then click through back over to your products and services. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Very good. Jessica, how about you? Where are you in the process of blogging? Just so I get to know a little bit more about you.
I do not currently blog. I actually know nothing about blogging. So I kind of came across this and I'm like, you know what? This sounds really interesting.
Okay. Now, what is your hope? I mean, are you an aspiring author? Do you want to create a business? Are you just wanting to have something social? What is your thoughts around your blog, Jessica?
So I am new to the insurance industry. I do have my life, health, and accident, and I'm working towards my property and casualty license right now as well.
Okay.
So trying to kind of like market a little bit with that. And then I actually do love writing. That's actually always been my passion. I used to write poetry all the time when I was in high school, many years ago.
Okay. And sometimes if we go back and look at what we used to love to do, it tells us a little bit more about who we really are and what our passions are. I like to go back and revisit, some of those things, way back, even before I started to school, what was my favorite things to do. And oftentimes, it does allow me to be a little more creative in my, I'll say in my superpower, because some of those things I think are inherently in us. And over the years, we've maybe gotten away from them. So I do like to think back about the things that I love to do as a kid and even through high school. And that's usually tells us a lot about ourselves. So good for you, Jessica. It could be that you'll end up being a published author at some point, because blogging is a great way to start writing and practice that skill. And some folks have even taken their blog post and put them together into a book.
Oh, wow.
And made the blog post the chapters or section, so you can put together several of your blog posts and create a chapter out of it. And then you're not starting from scratch because it's things that you've already written.
Could I throw something in there too?
Sure, Linda. Go ahead.
If everyone here may or may not know who James Clear is, the author of Atomic Habits, he wrote and published twice a week for like 2 or 3 years. And he turned that material into a book, and he was developing his thoughts, building an audience, etc. And when he released his book, it wasn't a bestseller, and he sold at least 7 million copies now. I don't know what the number is.
Good to know. That's a great point. That's a perfect example. I am recording this. And so what I will do in the recording, 2 things. Number one is once I get to the end of today's session and I record it, I do upload it into my academy. So you can go there and listen to the replays anytime you want. And what I will do in the description of today's session is I will include any referrals or references or anything that's made so that you can go back and double check and look them up, and you don't have to like take notes the whole time that we're talking. So Brian, welcome. How are you? We're just getting to know everyone. How are you doing today, Brian?
Good, great, yeah.
Okay. Share with us. I know you've been on before, but share with us with Linda and with Jessica where you are in the blogging process. Do you currently have a blog? And what are your goals surrounding having a blog?
Right now, I manage a couple of unpaid blogs, but I am open and looking to have a monetized blog. And
Okay.
I like that idea of the guy who like made his blog post into a book. 7 million copies. Wow.
Yes, that is a great way if you really enjoy writing. And oftentimes folks that are blogging, they enjoy the writing. That's why they gravitate toward wanting to have a blog, because they do enjoy the writing process. And so if you've ever thought that maybe down the road you'd like to be a published author, that is a great way to get started, is by blogging. So I just want to give an overview right now on what we're doing here. First of all, this is the Newbie Bloggers group. This is our free meetup, and I have 8 different lanes that I facilitate, and one of my lanes is the blogging lane. And so if you go to kathybinner.com, and I'll put all of that in the actual description when you go back and listen to the replay, so you don't have to take notes unless you want to. But kathybinner.com has all the lanes, and every lane has a free meetup, every lane has a course, and every lane has a mastermind. And so today, this is the Newbie Bloggers free meetup. And if you want to go a little deeper, you can actually get the course. And I'm going to go through some of the topics so you just see what we have. But then if you wanted to get into the mastermind, this is a smaller group of us where we kind of get down in the weeds a little bit more with each of the topics. And so I'll just kind of go through what we're talking about. We'd go through the 6 steps of creating your blog to monetizing it twice a year. So we start every January and July. And so we're several sections in on this one: January, February, March, April. We're already into May, and then we have June, and then starting in July, we start over. So make sure you mark it on your calendar if you want to kind of get in at the beginning of the process, because it's a step-by-step process. The first step is coming up with a blog name. Now, the problem, I don't know about you, but I always have a tendency to think too small. And I'll give you a couple of examples. I decided back in the day that I was going to get into the cosmetology industry. And that's my whole backstory, which I won't go into on today's call, because there's some topics I want to get into today. But when I decided to get into the cosmetology industry, I did the fast track, which was just the nail program. And so fast forward 2 or 3 years into the industry, my girlfriends that I was working with, they said, "Oh, Kathy, we need to have our own salon." And again, there's a whole backstory there as to why. And so I started a salon, and of course I called it All About Nails. And a year in, there was a whole room full of nail techs, and every time a customer would walk through the door, everybody was like, "Okay, whose turn is it to get this new customer?" And I realized rather quickly that if I added some hairstylist and I added some tanning and some other things to the roster, that same client might spend their money on several different services in the same salon. And so they might get their hair done, they might get their nails done, they might tan while they're there. And all of a sudden I thought, All About Nails is probably not the best name. And so I had to reinvent myself rather early in the process. And I had already done some advertising, I'd already done some branding, and now I wanted to make the salon a little more all-encompassing of more services. And so I changed the name to All About You instead of All About Nails. So with that said, don't think too small when you're naming your blog. And so one of the things that I do when I start to name a blog is that I will list everything that I want to talk about. I'll just make a list of all that. And then I back up from it and I try to see what is the common thread through all of those topics. And then I try to name my blog post according to that thread that runs through all of those topics. And so for me, I'm all about passive income. Again, I'll give you another example because I learned my lesson on the All About Nails. And so I wanted to write about passive income. I also love the health and fitness industry. And if you read my About Me or Work With Me page on my website at kathybenner.com, you'll see why those two things are important to me. And I thought, how can I write about health and how can I write about passive income all in the same blog post? Well, what does health and passive income mean to me? And then passive income. Well, I love the real estate piece. I love the writing piece. I love the mastermind piece. And I thought, oh, how am I going to make all of this, all of these different lanes come into one blog post? Because I didn't want to create all these different separate blogs. And so when I backed up and took a look at what was the common theme through all of those topics, the common theme is that I wanted freestyle living. I wanted to be able to have passive income and great health and be able to work from anywhere in the world and write from anywhere in the world and do masterminds from anywhere in the world and publish books from anywhere in the world. And so freestyle living was what I actually wanted the end result to be. And so I actually named my blog Freestyle Living. And so then I kind of reverse engineered it a little bit. Once I knew that I was going to be talking about freestyle living, then I could back up, and it goes hand in hand with another lane that I have, which is called Build a Better Business. And in Build a Better Business, we talk about how to build out your business, which is one of the ways you can monetize your blog. They kind of go hand in hand. Your business is going to point to the blog, and your blog is going to point back to the business. And that's exactly what Linda is doing. She's creating her products and services. And then when she blogs about them, she can point the blog back to her businesses and services. That's one way she can monetize her blog. But she also then can advertise her business by using the blog, but then she can advertise her blog through her business. And she can say, here's a way to get to know me a little better, if you want to check it out. And I've done the same thing on my homepage of my website in the Build a Better Business program, is that I feature my blog right there on the homepage. So they both go with each other. Now, what happens is when you have both of those pointing to each other, it brings you up higher in the search engines when somebody searches for whatever your topic is. And so if anybody puts in, anything about health and fitness or passive income or real estate, or I'm going to come up because those are all my topics and they're all listed on my homepage of my website. And we teach that in the Build a Better Business program, again, which goes hand in hand with this blogging program. So to just give you a little bit of housekeeping details, if you're interested in getting into the smaller masterminds, it's $25 a month. And what I'm doing now is I'm giving you 2 masterminds for the price of one. So you can do the Build a Better Business one and the blogging one together for the same $25. And at that point, you get the course included, both courses, the blogging course and the Build a Better Business course. Those are included in the mastermind. So you don't buy those separate. So if you look at my website at kathybenner.com and you say, oh, maybe I'll just get the course. If you check out the smaller mastermind and the fee of only $25 a month, it's not that much more, and you get the course. So that's the end of my infomercial. I'll just toss that out if you want to go a little deeper. So anyhow, January was all about a blog name. So don't get too narrow. Make your blog name cover everything that you want to talk about. Because when you first get started, you don't know where you really even want to go with the blog. And like me, when I named my salon All About Nails, and then I decided I wanted to add hair, how in the world am I going to get that into the name? How am I going to, make the consumer aware of that? So don't think too small. Once you have your blog name and you have your list of all the things that you want to write about, now you have to figure out, how am I going to get online? How am I going to make this happen? How am I going to figure out how to be visible, how to get this, what platform do I use? And so in February, we talk all about platforms and how to actually get a post published, the nuts and bolts of publishing that. It sounds like Brian is already doing some publishing. Linda, have you already published on a platform, some blog post? Not yet. Okay. Are you writing blog post already, Linda?
Unmuting.
Okay.
I have content that I've written on various topics. I've written some devotionals. I've written some instructive things, but nothing's really been published.
Okay, but you have all of those saved either in a Word document or someplace where you can go back and turn those into a blog post.
Multiple redundancies of saving, yes.
Okay, good for you. Good for you. And Brian, are you actually writing on the blogs that you're facilitating right now? Are you actually doing the writing, or are you just managing somebody else's writing?
I do all the writing.
Oh, okay. And have you actually published that out on a platform so far?
Such as,
Have you sent it out in an email? Have you put it on Facebook? Do you have a platform where if I said I wanted to look at your blogs, your blog post, I could put in a URL and your blogs would come up?
oh yeah, absolutely, yes.
Okay. And what is your blog name?
DJBC Adventures.
Okay. And you notice his topic, his title is broad enough that he can write about a lot of different things under that title. So good for you. I love that. I love that. Put in the chat if you want to share. You can include in the chat your link if you'd like to, Brian. You're welcome to do that if you want to help market your blog. And if you want to connect with each other, put your information in the chat box as well. And I will before I leave the conversation today. I'll put my information there as well. But anyways, in February, we talk all about platform, how to get on a platform, how to choose a platform, what platform is easy. Depends on where you're at in your technology level as to whether you really, whether you're a WordPress person, if you've worked with WordPress before, either on your website or in a job or whatever, and you're familiar with WordPress, you certainly can use WordPress. If you're not techie and you go, oh, I don't want to figure that out, I just kind of want to plug and play kind of thing, there are tons and tons of platforms out there that you can use. That's just plug and play, where you just kind of, click on a theme and then you just put your own picture in, your own words in, and hit publish, and it's out there. And so we talk all about that in February. Then in March, it's all about how to customize your blog. It's how to make it yours. It's whether you want to have what flair you want, whether you want to have a heart-centered blog, whether you want to just have an overview like a travel blog where somebody's just sharing all their travel adventures, but they don't get down into the emotional part. So it depends on how you want to come across to your public and what your topic is. If your topic is more educational, then you might keep it here, more in an educational realm. If your topic is you want for folks to transition emotionally, then you might want to be a little more transparent in your emotions in your blog, but you'll find your voice. You'll find your voice on where, kind of where you want to enter and customize your blog so that it kind of has the same feel as folks are going through your blog post. And then in April, we talk about writing and publishing. I mean, everything from how do you find time to write and how do you check your grammar? And so we get down into the nitty gritty on writing and publishing. And then in May, we're talking about promoting. So today we're talking about promoting, how to promote your blog. So you've already picked out your blog name. You already have decided on a platform. You've already customized kind of your voice on how you want to present all of your information. You figured out how you're going to write, how you're going to check the grammar, how you're going to make sure you didn't plagiarize anything, how you're going to, give a reference if you've quoted somebody in your blog post, and you're going to do all of that. And now you're ready to promote it. It's out there and you're ready to promote it. So one of the easiest ways to promote it, and again, remember, the number of times that you point to something and the number of times it points back to you out on the internet, the higher you come in the Google search. And I'll call it Google search. There's hundreds of search engines out there these days. But when we say to Google it, we all kind of know what that means. So it's however folks are searching for you, it will come up the more that you have pointed back and forth in your material. So the first thing that I recommend if you're going to be a blogger is create a website and point to the blog, and then in the blog, point to the website. So boom, there, you've done the first pointing back and forth just with your own stuff. And so that's why the Build a Better Business, which is all about how to put together your website and how to create a business and your products and services, go hand in hand with blogging. Because even if all you're going to do is blog, you can have a website that has your homepage, your About Me page, and then your blogging page. And you can connect all of that right there and then point back and forth. The URL to the blog points to the homepage, and the homepage points to the blog page. And so you can do that and help raise, you know, your access there in Google search. The second thing is to create some Facebook page for yourself. And I would say create with the end in mind. All of us have heard, you know, about starting with the end in mind. And so create with the end in mind. If you want to be a published author, then create an author's page. Even if you're not a published author yet, create an author's page and start living in that title. And when somebody says, what do you do? Oh, I'm an author. Well, if you haven't published yet, sometimes you feel like, well, I'm not an author. How can I say I'm an author? If you've published a blog, you're an author. See? And so you can actually put right in on your website, you can create an author's page. You can go over to Facebook and create an author's page. This is just as an example. If you want to create a business of some sort, go ahead and create the business page. Create it over here. You're over here, and the business page is over here. And now you're going to grow into that. Even if that's not you yet, you're going to grow into that. And I'll give you a perfect example. When I left the salon industry after 25 years, I decided to retire. I decided that I wanted to try my hand at having a bed and breakfast, at having a guest house in my home. And so when I decided that I wanted to do that, I'll have to admit, you know, the rooms were a little messy. I don't know about you, but you know, we had a 4-bedroom house and it's just the two of us. And so, you have that extra room where things just get tossed and you're going to deal with it later. Well, a lot of our rooms had turned into that. And so when I decided that I wanted to start a guest house, I could do it 2 ways. I could wait until the house was perfect and then launch this guest house, or I could launch the guest house and then start growing into that, making the house perfect. So I chose to launch the guest house. I created a Facebook page. I created a website. I went around and took pictures up close so that, you know, the pile of stuff didn't show over here. I just like took a picture of the vase on the stand and the lamp on the dresser and said, here's our rooms. And they weren't anywhere near ready. But once I got a booking or two, you know, a month out, I was like, oh, holy moly, I better get this room ready. And it forced me to grow into it because I already took on the identity when people would say, what are you doing now that you're retired from the salon industry? Oh, I run a bed and breakfast. I run a guest house. So that's what I'm encouraging you to do. So wherever you're headed with your writing, whether it be just a blog or whether you want to be an author or whether you want to create a business around this blog, start creating that on paper and start embodying that, start living that, start telling people when they say, well, what is it that you do? So I did the same thing when I finally retired. And by the way, we have a beautiful guest house bed and breakfast now. We have several rooms. We're advertised all over the place. We're called the Caraway Guest House. We have international travelers that come in and stay with us. And it's a beautiful thing. And again, I had to grow into it. And so when I decided that I wanted to start my international academy, I did the same thing. I created the academy on paper, gave it a website, gave it a Facebook page, started the academy. And then as I started growing into it, I knew that I wanted it to be international. So I put that word in the title. I wanted the Kathy Benner International Academy because I wanted international students. And I do. I have students from Africa continent. I have students from India. I have students from Germany and all over the United States that are tapped in with me now through the Kathy Benner International Academy. So what I'm saying there is to go ahead and create something on where you're going and allow yourself time to grow into that. And so that's kind of how you're going to promote it. So once you have your Facebook page, whether it's an author page or your blogging page or whatever around your, and name it the same as your blog or the same as your company, depending on where you're going with that. Then once you do that, you can then do your blog post, post it on your platform. Because remember, we've already picked a name. We've already picked our platform that we're going to put it on. Whether it be WordPress, mine's on HostGator, there's Wix, there's Weebly, there's, you can just search what are the top 10 blogging platforms and just go through those. Now in the course that's on my Kathy Benner International Academy, on the blogging course, we go through all of those platforms in that section. In February, we broke down and went through all those. Now remember, in July, we're going to start over. In July, we're going to start all over about picking a blog name. And then in August, finding a platform. September, customizing. We're going to just go through the 6 steps all over again. And we do it twice a year. And if you don't catch it the first time, catch it the second time. I get that. You have to kind of build. I understand. And sometimes when you listen to something the first time, it doesn't quite make sense until you take the first step and start doing it, and then it starts making more sense. And so the second or third time you hear it, you're like, that's what she was talking about. And so just feel free to tap in each month and just keep going until you reach your dreams. So anyway, at that point, once you get your platform and you've got it written and now you're sharing it, what I like to do is once I do my blog, I, like Linda, I save it on my computer. So it's saved in Word or on a Google Doc. It's saved somewhere on my computer. Then I take that blog post and I upload it into my platform, and mine happens to be HostGator. Now, again, if you're searching, if you go to kathybenner.com and go to the resource page, there is a discount there for HostGator. And it's only a couple bucks a month, and it gets your domain name and your platform, and it's plug and play because I'm not a WordPress girl. I wish I were, but I'm not. I'm too busy for that with the bed and breakfast and the other things that I'm doing. And we travel quite a bit because it's part of my freestyle living, of course. And so at that point, I decided to just go with a plug and play on my blogging. So I chose HostGator, and I'm giving a discount on my website for anyone else that clicks through there. You can get it at a discount. And I will share with you, I am using an affiliate link. And there is a way that you can monetize your blog post. So anyone that reads my blog and says, gee, I want to blog too, and they click over and go down on my resource page and click through on HostGator, then I actually get some credit toward my HostGator as an affiliate. And again, it's not a lot of money, but every little bit helps. That's what it's all about. And so anyway, at that point, you can get your post posted up on your platform, your blog post. Now you want to kind of market it. How are you going to point back to that blog post? And so what I like to do is I like to highlight the first paragraph and then kind of stop in the middle of a sentence. Now hang in there with me. So I'll copy the first paragraph, but I'll stop in the middle of a sentence and finish it with the ... Like 10 ways, to do this thing. And if you ever thought that you could do this, this is how you can ... Well, this is how you can what? It makes people want to click to read the rest of the sentence. You see where I'm going with that? And so what I do is I highlight the first paragraph, pick a nice cliffhanger, ... Then I copy and paste that over into social media. But then right under that, I put the link back to that article. And so what happens almost 99% of the time, people will read that first sentence. And when it cliffhangs like that, they'll click on it. And what does it do? It takes them over to my HostGator, and the full article comes up. And then, of course, I monetize the article by saying, if you too would like to have a blog, you can click here, blah, blah, blah. And it takes them back to my website. So you see how the clicking through is what raises everything in your Google search. And so what happens is once I do that over in Facebook, I also do it. I try to pick 5 social medias, and it's not time consuming once you kind of get it down to a science. I also put it in Instagram, I put it in LinkedIn, I put it on Twitter, and I put it on Pinterest. And so what I do is once I copy that, then all I have to do, and I copy that first paragraph with the cliffhanger, with the link. And once I get that copied, then it's just, we all know how to do this. You put your finger on and you hit copy. And as I like to say, now it's on the end of your finger. And so then you go over and you just go paste, 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 paste across all your other social media. So once you have your blog post written, and once you have it set up where you know where you want your cliffhanger to be, and you copy that, now it's on your clipboard. So now all you do is just paste it, paste it, paste it, paste it, and boom, 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 boom. It just automatically populates those other social medias. Now, the part that I like is on HostGator, it does have you adding a picture, and I encourage you all to take your own picture. But if not, if you were going to go into the internet to get a picture, make sure you get a free one. Don't get one that you're going to get in trouble for later by stealing somebody's picture. So get a free one, make sure it's free. And you always know it's free if it's your own. And so I try to use as much of my own pictures as possible. But if I take one, if I'm in a hurry and I'm like, oh, I don't have time to go through I'm just going to Google, a seaside picture because I'm talking about traveling or something. Just make sure that you pick a free one. But when you put your link just to that article, when you open up your article on HostGator and you copy that first paragraph with your little cliffhanger, and then you put the link, the URL just to that article, not to your whole blog platform, but just to that article. Once you copy and start to paste that, it'll automatically populate the picture as well across your social media. And so it makes life so easy because it looks like a nice post. It attracts people's attention. And when we get down into the nitty gritty of promoting, there's all kinds of tricks and tips. You can go to Google Trends and put your title of your blog into Google Trends, and it'll tell you how many people are actually looking for those words. And then you can play around with other words. And I'll give you an example of that. I like to write about passive income. But when I put passive income over into Google Trends, it was okay. It was trending okay. And I thought, well, let's play around with this a little bit. So then, and you can compare up to 5 on Google Trends. And so in the next one, I forget what I put, but anyhow, somewhere in there, I put working from home, and boom, it went through the ceiling of the number of people that were looking for working from home versus passive income. And so what that told me was that I can still write about passive income, but I have to weave the sentence working from home somewhere, either in the title or in that first paragraph, so that my article comes up more often when folks are searching. And so that's a great way to promote your blogs as well, is to just drop it over into Google Trends, make some variations, 4 or 5 variations across there, and see which phrase is trending the highest. And then that's the phrase that you want to work into your writing or into your title. So those are some tips and tricks on how to promote your blog once you get that far. But I want to open it up to questions. So Linda, what are your thoughts or questions on the topic today, or any insight for us?
I like the idea of creating a post and then being able to repurpose it over and over to get more mileage from that one piece of effort that you've done.
Yeah, that's perfect. And also, again, we talked about if you're saving those over in a Google Doc or a Word document or in notes or wherever you're saving those, you can utilize those into a course. You can utilize them into a book. You could utilize them into a poster behind you if you're doing a speaking gig. I mean, there's all kinds of ways that you can utilize that content and to monetize your post. But if nothing else, you can actually use affiliate links to monetize, or you can, again, if you create your own products, your own course, or your own products and services, then you can use that link to monetize it as well. So lots of great ideas there. Brian, how about you? Any tips, tricks, thoughts? How has this helped you today? There you go.
How's it helped me today? I think it's helped like gain some focus and direction.
Now tell us a little bit about your blog. When you're blogging, because of your title, what are some of the topics that you're blogging about? How broad is your blog?
So I usually talk about things that are happening around town. And primarily.
So you're talking more about events than anything else? An event that's going on?
Yeah, events that happen around town.
Well, a great way for you to promote, and you may be doing this already, is oftentimes in these communities, they have community pages on Facebook or Instagram for the community. Are you familiar with those?
Yes.
And do you have permission from the admin on some of those to post your blog there?
I have not tried.
So here's what I would recommend. I would recommend that you go to the top of that particular community page, find out who the admin is, and sometimes there's more than one, and send them a message on the back channel through Messenger or somehow, or go even to their personal Facebook page and send them a message. And just introduce yourself and say, you know, this is what I'm doing. I'm promoting the community. I'm promoting events, and just get permission and say, is it okay if I post my blog on this page to help promote particular events around the community? And once they know that you're promoting and not really selling anything, you know, you're not trying to spam, if you will, the community, they'll allow you to do that. And then here's where here's where the sweet spot is. Then at that point, if you do what I said and just copy like the first paragraph of that particular blog about that event and leave a cliffhanger there, it will make folks want to click on that, which automatically puts them back into your blogging platform. And once they go to your blogging platform, you can have a little pop-up where you can get their email address. Now you're creating your own mailing list so that when you're ready to monetize your blog, you have your own fan club, and now you're monetizing within your email list and not on that social media page. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, do you have a little pop-up in your blog post that has folks register to get more blogs, you know, to join your mailing list?
I don't, and I don't have a mailing list.
Okay, I would recommend that you start your own little mailing list, because when you're ready to monetize, folks that really like what you're talking about and what you're writing about, they'll gladly sign up. I don't know about you, but I sign up to 2 or 3 things a week. If it's a topic that interests me and I go, yeah, I want more information on that, I'll throw my email address in there to get more information. And then all of a sudden their stuff comes right into my inbox, and I don't have to look for it out on social media. It comes right to me in my inbox because it's information that I'm interested in. And so once folks are interested in you, if you just have an option for them to sign up, and mine is just a little pop-up, and I'll just share, if you guys want to make a note, I'll also put it in you know, in the content when I upload the replay of this. But mine is just freestyleliving.net, and I'm just going to pull mine up over here on this other computer just so I'm saying it correctly. Mine is freestyleliving.net, and once you start to scroll down my homepage, and it's about toward the bottom, if you're just scrolling down, it'll have a little pop-up that floats in there that says join our email list. And you just put in your email address, your first name, last name, and that's it, and submit. That's all it is, subscribe. So there's simply subscribing to my blog. And so you want to have that somewhere, and which is why a platform is so important. to have an actual blogging platform. What makes a good blogging platform, and I know today's topic is not about platforms, but if you're just getting started, what really makes a good blogging platform is one that you can put an index so that folks can pick and choose the titles that they want to look at. Somebody may tell someone about your blog. They go, oh, Linda wrote this great article about ABC. You need to go check it out. And once they go to her blog, if she's been blogging for a couple of years, how do they find the article on ABC? Do they just start looking, scrolling? You have to have a place where they can click on titles or something so that they can find that article. And so a good blogging platform will have a way to index your articles, index your blog post, and it will have a way to have a pop-up where people can subscribe with their email address so that you can start building an email list. Okay, does that make sense? And so, Brian, if you could get permission to post over there, that's kind of a ready-made audience for you in that blog post or in that Facebook page for a community Facebook page. That's a perfect audience for you to get folks then to click back over to your blog and then have a way for them to enter your mailing list. Once you start to get a mailing list, do you know that you can have a successful business with just 100 fans on your mailing list? You only need about 100 fans and you can have an amazing, amazing business. And we talk about that in the Build a Better Business platform on how to create a business with just 100 raving fans. It doesn't take that many. And I'll just toss this out. And I kind of want to just put this out there so you guys are thinking about it when you're like, how can I monetize? My recommendation is to grow your tribe, and your tribe will find you. Your tribe will find you. Once you're in your niche and you're talking about your thing time and time again, your tribe will find you. They'll start saying, oh, I don't want to miss that. I want to hear what Linda has to say, or I want to hear what Brian has to say, or I want to hear what Jessica has to say because I'm really into their topic. If you start a membership site, now you have to have some value. So you have to think around how you're going to add value to the membership site. But just so you understand how that works, if you just had 100 people that were your raving fans and they bought into your membership site at $25 a month, that's $2,500 a month. Would that be a nice little nest egg to sit on, $2,500 a month coming in? And all you did is created a membership site. Now, you can create a membership site 100 different ways, but you have to bring value. So you have to decide what value are you bringing in this membership site? Is it a travel club? Is it education? What are you bringing in this membership site? So think about what would make you want to join a membership site. Think about right now, think back over your bank account. What is it that's coming out of your bank account every month on an auto draw that you just let it continue to come out? I have a fitness club membership. And I just let it draw every month, whether I make it to the fitness club or not. I let that draw. That's a membership site. Anybody else have an example? Is there something else you have coming out? I have Netflix coming out every month because I like to watch movies every so often. And so even if I'm not going to watch a movie, I don't cancel the Netflix. It comes out every month. What do you have coming out of your account every month? Anyone want to share?
I know I have Netflix, Discovery Plus, Paramount Plus, Amazon.
Okay.
I have a lot.
So think about, those are all membership sites and you're a part of the membership site. So think about what could you offer as a membership site that you could put the link at the bottom of your blog post. And as folks sign up for your blog, you always close out every blog with why they should join the membership site. Now, for me, I practice what I preach. Mine are my masterminds at $25 a month. And again, with 100 folks signed up, that's $2,500 every month. And because it's only $25, it's not likely that all 100 people are going to quit next month. A couple might quit, 2 might leave and 3 might come on, and 1 might leave and 4 might come on. And so what happens is your income does this. It's just right here. It's not like I'm making 2,500, I'm not making anything. I'm making 2,500, I'm not making it, because that's such a small ticket. A couple leave and it goes down, and a couple join and it goes up. And so your income is like this, kind of right here in the middle. And for the most part, you're bringing in, $2,500 a month with just 100 raving fans. And it doesn't take all that much, and I know it sounds like a lot, but if you divide that by 12, you only need to have 8 members a month join the first year. What if I told you, hey, I'm your boss. If you work with me for the next year at what you're making right now, I will give you a $2,500 a month, not a year. I'll give you a $2,500 a month raise in 12 months. Would you think that was a good deal?
Yeah.
So if you start now and just start building a membership site at 8 people a month, you will have created at $25 a membership, you will have created a $2,500 a month membership site in a year. So you see how that works. And so again, in Build a Better Business, we teach you how to do that. And the reason that these two masterminds kind of go together is because when you're blogging, you want to monetize the blog. And when you have a product, you have to have a way to market it, which your blogging is a perfect marketing tool for folks to get to know, like, and trust you. So they do go together. And in the Build a Better Business, we do a whole month on blogging. But again, we don't get down in as deep as we do in the blogging mastermind. In the blogging mastermind, we talk about how to pick your platform and how to customize it and how to write and how to find time to write. And so we get down into the nitty gritty. And so my free meetups, and again, this is part of the Build a Better Business program, my free meetups, when you think about a funnel, that's the top of my funnel, is that I do this for free so that folks, again, get to see me, they get to hear me, they get to see what my products are all about. And then I always mention that I have these courses and masterminds. That is how you monetize what it is that you're doing. Now, your topic can be whatever your topic is, and I can show you how to turn your topic into that perfect funnel and how to turn it into some sort of a membership site at the other end. Because the membership sites, in my opinion, are the way to have that solid base. If you're selling products out there, you're at the mercy of whether the product sells or doesn't sell. And a membership site can go on. Folks can be in your site for years and years. I have folks, I started in 2016. I have folks in my membership site that joined back then, and they're still in the site today. And I keep adding value, because every time I do one of these calls, I record it and I put this call in the platform. So that's part of the value that I'm bringing, is I'm adding course material to the platform every week. All right, Linda, how about you? What are your thoughts on how you can actually monetize what you're doing? Has there been any aha moments for you today on how you might design your business along with your blog?
Well, Brian may remember or not, and Jessica's new, but what my product and service is a group course where I help people create their perfect end of life plan so they can be a blessing to their family instead of a burden. And that is called the Legacy of Love Project. So in my blogs, I can definitely create greater awareness as to what are some of the things that people can run into because they don't know what happens if they haven't set some of these things up. And that creates a sense of urgency when they realize how many barn doors are hanging open so that all the horses are going to run out. And it can be startling, it can be concerning when people learn even just one thing. So as I just share information, educate, make people aware, I can point back to my website, my landing page, etc. And that will give them the opportunity to register for the next group that will be starting and be able to create their end of life plan in small, manageable steps that fit in around a busy life and take control of their world and their legacy. So I feel like it should dovetail beautifully.
I agree. And so once you send them back over to your program, is it going to be like a 5-week masterclass, or how what's that program look like?
Really right now it's a 90-day program.
Okay.
You know, I could make it shorter, but then it would be intensive and then it would not fit in around the edges.
Right.
And I feel like for people, I mean, if you're an adult, you might be part of the sandwich generation. You may have kids in the home and be providing extra attention for your parents, and maybe you're working full time. And one of the reasons people never start these things is they're just too busy and
Right.
overwhelmed and don't know where to start. So I really want to keep it that there's those small wins, those bits of progress each week. Well, you know, I have more done now than I ever have. And so, yeah, we are spreading it out over 90 days, but people are going to come out with, they're going to be in such an amazing place versus where they were when they started.
I love that. And I was there. I get it. I was taking care of 2 parents and working full time, and I had the kids and the grandkids, and I just saw myself coming and going for about 3 years. And I get it. And it would have been so helpful to have had some insight as to what was coming, because, you know, you don't do this every day. And oftentimes we don't realize that a parent is needing help or is in a position, it comes fast oftentimes, and we don't have time to prepare then, because we're just, you know, putting a band-aid on everything, trying to just get through the week. And
You
so
bet.
I get it. I get it.
And the
Now,
consequences are so huge, and
yes,
people don't even know what those consequences are. And so by having a trusted guide, they can go step by step. We can make them gently aware of some of the consequences while still not trying to, you know, scare the socks off of them, but offer hope and guidance and manageable wins. And so I'm just so excited about what it can mean to families. And I do feel that the blog is a way of helping to get the word out.
absolutely. Now, where might you offer the blog? And I also can see that for you to reach that audience, that possibly a newsletter could also be helpful
Okay.
to reach that audience. And so now, where does that audience hang out? And where could you get a lot of promotion? Now, I don't know what your religious affiliation is, but I could see where holding some sort of a master class, just maybe an hour or 2 master class that gives the high points, a free master class that gives the high points, would be a great way for you to market that. And
Like at a church.
yes, I could see you doing that at a church. I could see you doing that at a senior center. I could see you even doing newsletters to nursing homes, because their case managers are talking with the families that are dealing with parents or loved ones that are in the nursing home, and those folks they don't know where to turn. And so I could see you marketing all of those places and so not only are you monetizing your blog, but you're monetizing your whole business.
Yeah, yeah. Those are all very, very relevant. And even this is, you first start thinking older people, but I mean, let's just talk entrepreneurs. we're all running around with our hair on fire, and we are not dealing with any of these issues. So even women entrepreneur Facebook groups or mixed gender is fine, because we're all like, I'm going to get to that, or I'm vaguely aware
Yep.
that that's important, but not today, not this week, not this month, probably not this year.
Yep.
And none of us knows how long we have.
I get that. I get that. And then there's another one too. There's all kinds of health fairs out there, and
Mhm.
people that are health conscious sometimes will attend the health fairs. And I could see you having a booth at those types of expos.
Mhm.
And I think you would present very well in an expo type environment.
Having years of experience in business helps.
Yep. Yep.
Mhm.
But I see to get folks to really connect, because a lot of folks are going to go, well, what all is that? Is it worth my time to spend my time getting into this 90-day thing? I see a couple of hour masterclass where you're just hitting the high points, and then
Yeah.
explaining in a free masterclass. So it's only a couple of hours or less, so it's not a big time consuming thing. It's a way that they can sign up, and even if they can't attend, they can get the replay and do a master class. Even if you have a small number that you're actually talking to on the master class, a ton of people will tap into the replay if they can't actually make it. That way you don't have to try to be everything to everyone. You can pick a time that works really well for you, as long as
Mhm.
you've got a few people to talk to. So you don't feel like you're talking to yourself. You could do a master class all by yourself. You wouldn't have to even have an audience. You could do the whole thing on a replay, but it's more fun if you have some folks there. It brings it kind of down to earth a little more for your for the person that's viewing it later. But anyway, then have a replay where folks can actually tap in and listen to the replay. And what will happen then is toward the end, and you want to make it, I'm going to say, and you might do some research on this, but about 25% of your content, you're going to break it down into 4 sections. And you're going to have the beginning, the middle, and the end of your presentation in the first 3 sections. And then the 4th section is going to be you just telling about your 90-day,
Mm.
on how folks can tap in and learn a little more. So this is for everyone. So if you already know what product or service it is that you want to market, that you want to monetize your blog post with, then every blog post, you can format it the same way. You're going to break it into 4, I'll call it paragraphs, 4 paragraphs in a masterclass, 4 sections. And you're going to have the beginning, the middle, and the end. Once upon a time, here's my situation, but then I discovered this, and now I want to show you how to do this. And then the 4th section or 4th paragraph is you're just talking about your product or service, so that they know how to go a little deeper with you. So did that inspire you at all, Linda?
That was wonderful. Thank you.
So I can see you doing that. Yes. Jessica, how about you? And Ada, thanks for joining us. I see that you're just jumping in, and we're right at the top of the hour. So this is recorded, so you can go back and listen to the replay. If you don't want to write anything down, just remember kathybenner.com. Scroll down to the free bloggers, go through, register through there, and you can get all the replays. Jessica, how about you? What are your thoughts on today's conversation?
Like, I actually made lots of notes. I'm a very big note taker. Like, this has been so informative and inspiring. Like, I came in really not knowing anything about blogging other than the word blog.
Okay.
And like, just kind of like, and then the discussion that you and Linda just had, like, it gave me chills, because like I said, I'm in the life insurance industry, and I'm a single mom. I have an 11-year-old son. I take care of my dad. My grandmother just passed away 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Jessica.
And like, most of my family is now in a completely different state. So I have like no family left here in Ohio. And like, it's just, it's so important with, knowing what to do, because like I don't have life insurance on myself. So if something was to happen to me tomorrow, like my family is going to be kind of, stuck in a rut because I don't have anything to leave behind. And like just knowing that there's more ways to get that information out there and to help people become knowledgeable, not just, for life insurance or, end of lifetime, but for anything. Like that's amazing. Like I haven't been working since the beginning of February, because I've had 5 surgeries since November of 2020.
Oh, wow.
So like just knowing that, there's something out there that, I can still do kind of in my spare time, be able to help people, get knowledge about different stuff and, be able to make money and doing that too. Like that's just phenomenal in my opinion.
Well, I am putting it in the chat. I'm putting the kathybinner.com. So that's how you can find me. And Jessica, thank you so much for that share. And I just want to say, again, over in the Build a Better Business, we spend a whole month talking about storytelling, because your storytelling is your marketing. And I'll just give you a brief, again, example of that. If a gal has lost tons of weight and she walks into the room and we all look at her and go, oh my God, what did you do? And she starts telling her story, we're all ready to buy. She didn't have to sell anything. She's just telling her story. Well, I found this product and I started using it, or I found this fitness center, or I started doing this, or started doing, and we're all ready to jump on the bandwagon and do whatever she's doing, because we can see by her story that it works. And so your storytelling is your marketing. And so when you selling life insurance, when you go back and tell your story, and you don't have to get way down in the weeds, but when you tell your story about your grandmother and your family and what you've seen firsthand, that's a huge marketing tool. And with Linda, when Linda is talking about, taking care of, and you're in that sandwich generation, and if she brings in her story on how she even got involved in putting together this program, that's a huge marketing tool. Huge marketing tool. And so again, over in the Build a Better Business, we talk about storytelling, and I lay out an entire hero's journey for everyone, and you just plug yourself into the points of a hero's journey, and you we kind of help you craft your story, and your story becomes the cornerstone of your business, of your blog post, of your products, of your services. That's your cornerstone. That's why you're doing what you're doing, is because of your story, and we help you craft that. So then no matter where you go, no matter who asks you to talk, you just go back and hook a little piece of your story. So if they say, Kathy, can you talk for 10 minutes? I just hook a little piece of my story for 10 minutes. And that happened this morning on Clubhouse. I was on Clubhouse and the gal asked me, she said, Kathy, tell us, what this means for you. And we were talking about reverse engineering. And she said, Kathy, share something in your life about reverse engineering. I thought, okay, I'm on the spot just like that. I had to come up with something about reverse engineering. What would you guys say if somebody said, tell us what you did in your life to reverse engineer something? What would you say? Well, I immediately just went out and hooked a little piece of my story on how I decided what I wanted to do and how I created it on a website and on a Facebook page first. And then I was over here and I created it over here, and then I had to grow it. So I kind of reverse engineered it. I kind of said, this is where I want to end up, but here's where I am. And so then I just started living as if I were already there. And my story this morning, and I'll share it with you guys, my story this morning was how I opened the bed and breakfast, because I knew I wanted to do it. And so I just made a website for the guest house. I made a Facebook page for the guest house. And every time I would go out to a chamber event or even out to dinner with friends, and they're like, what are you doing now? Oh, I own a guest house. I didn't have a guest yet. How do you have a guest house without a guest? That's because I embodied the guest house. I started living as if I already had the guest house. When somebody said, what are you doing these days? Oh, I run a guest house. What does that mean? Oh, we have guests and they come in from all over the world. And I hadn't even had my first guest, but I was already living and embodying that business. And so then over the next 12 months, I grew into that to where we did have guests. Then we did have guests from other countries. And then we had guests that were coming in from around the world. Then we were having repeat guests from some of these countries, and we still do. And now I'm as busy as I want to be. I actually go in now and block the rooms off sometimes to get a break, because if I don't, I've got a full house and I'm crazy busy. And so again, everybody goes, how busy are you? I'm as busy as I want to be, because sometimes I don't want to be this busy, and I purposely will block a night off so that Mark and I can go do something that we want to do, or be with the kids or grandkids, and I don't have to worry about checking guests in or whatever. But because of my guest house, it has allowed me to buy 3 additional properties with the money that I got from the guest house just since 2017. And so that's how your business can grow, if you just put it out there and then reverse engineer it and move into it. And so anyway, that was the topic this morning on Clubhouse. And I just went and hooked a piece of my story, because I've already crafted that hero's journey. I already had my story, and I didn't sit there and go, oh, what am I going to talk about? All I had to do was think about my hero's journey. Like, here's where I was, but then I discovered this, and now I want to help you discover it. And I thought, where can I just hook a piece? And I just went out and hooked the piece of the guest house as my story. Ada, did you have a comment? I see you've raised your hand.
Yeah, I love that story. And it actually came into fruition. It's already, it's taking that approach. You're reaping the benefits. You've already can see the benefits of that approach. It reminds me, and I there's a number of like famous and otherwise only famous because that's the one we hear about. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are not famous who are very successful doing that as well. But who have done that approach, I've heard about, done that approach or read, and yeah, that's how they started. And it's kind of like the act as if you're there, and it's also like, as opposed to like worrying like negatively of like what terrible awful things that could happen and catastrophizing. It's like the opposite way. It's like, okay, like what if all these great things happen?
Absolutely. I definitely agree with that, Ada. And you know what, sometimes, and I will say this before we go, sometimes the people closest to you will sit on your dreams the most. And I will say that, because my best girlfriend, when I said I want to open a guest house, her first comment to me was, you want to do what? You're going to wake up dead one morning having strangers in your house. And I'm like, what? Where did this come from? And I said, well, now let me just look at it logically. I said, have you ever driven down the freeway and decided to pull into one of those motels, where you see all the doors out on the sidewalk, and spend the night because it's the only thing for 20 miles and it's midnight and you can't drive anymore, and you just want to spend the night? You don't want to spend a lot of money, and you just want a clean bed and a hot shower, and so you stay at a motel. And she's like, well, yeah, all the time. And I said, well, what's between you and that freeway is one door. And she's like, okay. And I said, well, in my home, I said, we have an exterior lock on our bedroom door. It's actually a keyless entry with a push button. And I said, so there's still a door between me and my guest. And I said, but here's the difference. I said, when you stay at a motel, I said, you're out along a freeway. You have no idea who's driving by and who might decide to stop. And I don't know about, I don't want to scare anybody, but it only takes one really good kick to kick in about any door if somebody really wanted in. it's very unlikely that even the door on your house would prevent somebody from getting in. I mean, we all have windows. They could put something, a brick through your window and they could get in. And I don't want to scare anybody. That's not the point. But the point is that I'm as secure, if not more secure, in my own home, because now only certain people decide that they want to stay in a guest house instead of in a hotel or a motel. And no one else even knows that they're there. So it's not like you've got this freeway of strangers that are 50 feet from your door at a motel. And so I feel that it's a lot more secure instead of less secure. And my girlfriend was like, well, I hadn't thought of that. And we've been doing this again since 2016. We've had zero issues. Everyone has been so lovely. And we've had zero issues having strangers in our house. And we have met so many folks that are now friends that were not friends before. And now we're friends. And I have a ton of folks because I embody what I'm doing with my academy, the same as I did with the bed and breakfast. So now when people say, oh, well, what are you doing? I have an international academy and I have these lanes about passive income and I have these masterminds and I have these courses. A lot of my guests have signed up for my masterminds and are part of my membership site. And they found me because they were a guest at the guest house.
Wow.
And they met me and got to know me and they said, we're in, we want to hear what you have to say about that.
And so and before they come to, do they come as a guest house by seeing it on the freeway, or do they you screen them first and then how does that work?
I don't screen them at all. Once we opened as a guest house, we're out on these online booking sites like booking.com and Travelocity and Expedia.com and Airbnb. And we're just out on those booking sites. So when someone books, all we have is a name and a phone number and maybe an address. We don't have anything else. And so when they show up at my door, I have no idea why they're here, how old they are, or anything about them.
Okay.
It would just be like you booking a hotel and you show up.
But when they meet you, they go straight to that place. But it seems secure because at least you have your lock and everything.
Yeah, it's secure because we have the front of the houses for the guest and the back of the house is an owner suite, and we have our owner suite is locked just as if it were a separate residence.
Okay.
Yeah, it wouldn't be any different than if a stranger stayed at the house next door and we had no idea who they were. It wouldn't be any different than that.
I mean, this will be off this recording, but maybe I would speak to you about something that I'm thinking of, but I'm I'm not sure. I've been thinking about it for 6 months or more.
All right. Well, now let me share this. If you go to kathybinner.com and scroll down my homepage, I have a lane of how to create a short-term rental if that's what you're interested in.
Yeah.
So tap in. There's a free meetup every month. I have a course and I have a mastermind. So feel free to tap in.
When you start, when does that start again? I know the last time I was here, it's you told me the dates of those weeks of things.
Again, if you go to kathybinner.com and scroll down the homepage, there's a whole calendar.
Okay, I'll do that.
You can just look at the calendar and see when everything is, and feel free to tap into as much of the free stuff as possible. And I want to invite you all to join, at least one mastermind. And remember, you get 2 for the price of 1. So you can tell me which 2 you want to be in. Normally, I have a long-term rental mastermind, and long-term kind of goes with short-term. And then I have the Build a Better Business, which kind of goes with the blogging. And then I have a writer's Write from Anywhere in the World mastermind as well. So anyway, just check it out.
I'll do that. That sounds like a good place to start, and I can always contact you or whatever. All right,
absolutely. Absolutely. And right through my website, you can contact me as well.
Sounds great. Now, on the other topic which is not, I don't really have a huge question. I'm just adding on to what you said, and I'll make it brief. When you were talking about to Jessica, also what made me also raise my hand was that what you were saying and how you put yourself across, even though here we're for the purposes of for blogging, it could be for consulting or if you're entrepreneurial pursuit, but really that storytelling process, it's great practice and writing that down for anything, even if you were looking for, a regular job, whether it be a job at a office, a hospital, a location, or remote, whatever type of work. It could be full or part-time. You can use that for so many things in
Yes.
presenting yourself, like just cleaning, clarifying your 3-minute pitch, basically. Yeah.
Yes, your storytelling comes first. That's the cornerstone of everything that you're doing. And then you can create, like you said, your pitch, which would be your elevator speech, your 30-second commercial, whatever. You take that story and you break it down into one sentence, and that's what makes your value proposition statement, your 30-second commercial, whatever you want to call it. And that's based out of your story. And so that's why we teach that in Build a Better Business. We teach a whole month on nothing but storytelling. And we go through that a couple times a year as well. So anyway, we are at the top of the hour. I just appreciate everyone being on today. Thank you so much. I hope I've inspired you to take the next step. I hope you've had some inspiration there, that you can maybe get either on a blog platform or start to market or start to reverse engineer a little bit, get your website up, get your Facebook page up, and then start growing into that so that you can make your mark. Linda, comment?
Yeah, I wanted to, if Ada is open to it, I wanted to encourage Ada to put her contact information in the chat. Brian and Jessica and I have already, and that could give us a means of communicating with one another based on things that we've shared in today's group.
Absolutely. And when I put it into the replay, there is a section there for folks that want to connect. And so if you want to connect with each other, you can see everyone's connect information. So Ada, if you'd like to share your connect information, that's totally up to you if you want to put it in the chat. And if so, then I will include that with everyone else's contact information as well. Again, go to kathybenner.com, scroll down to the free blogging, and that's where you'll find the replays and all the connect information. Perfect. All right, folks, with that, we're going to go. We went just a little bit over, but not bad. It's 11:19. I want to thank everybody for being here. I really appreciate you. And we'll see everyone next time. So check out the calendar and put me on your calendar. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.